welcome back to They Did What? Your source of the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories where I go with them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today I'm going to read a story titled, Am I Wrong for Ending Things with a Date After She Kept Different Rules for Different Guys? And guys, this story, like the title says, is about a young guy. He's only, 26. Been seeing this gal for 2 months, and in the beginning, she made it clear that she didn't want to get romantic. No hooking up because she's looking for a long-term relationship, obviously something meaningful, all that. And he's like, okay. And took his time, was patient. And finds out after a couple months when finally she wanted to do the deed with him that she was hooking up with another dude the whole time. He knew she was dating, but figured the same rules applied to them. Wrong. And boom, he's done with her. And that'd be a good story to go over to make the point, guys, that the saying, make rules for betas, break rules for alphas, right here. So many times, gals will reach the point, usually in their mid-20s when they're out of school or whatever, that they're now ready to find the guy to settle down with for marriage number one, their future ex-husband. And so they'll date and they'll want to have guys wait. But meanwhile, they still need to have their needs fulfilled, so they're usually hooking up with at least one guy. They know it's not going to go anywhere with that guy, but they're still having their fun with him. Meanwhile, the guys are taking out her on dates. If they're lucky, they're getting a kiss. And then she goes off to Chad and Tyrone's house to get piped down. And this guy here, boom, done. Now, real quick, I want to also mention, this guy, as you're going to see, is your classic nice guy. However, he does redeem himself in the end by getting rid of her. So, starts off, says here, it is as the title says. I'm 26, and I've been going on dates with this woman, a 25-year-old female, since the last 2 months. We haven't talked about being exclusive since things haven't gotten that serious, but have mutual interest in each other, so we kept going on dates. In that same time period, I've also gone on dates with a few other girls, but I didn't feel the spark to continue the dates with them. So at least for myself, I stuck to this girl and hope for things to fare well between us. Okay, they're both dating, but he's not getting too serious and all that. But we'll see. I knew that she's also seeing someone else, and she was transparent with me about him. No, she wasn't. I haven't met him, but I give credit to her for being open about the current state of things between us and around her. No, she's not. At the beginning of our dates, she mentioned that she was looking for a serious relationship and needed time to engage in any S-word intimacy until she found comfort and space. I agreed to that and was okay since I don't have a high libido these type of days. Right there. Okay, you heard it. Not looking to get serious until she finds somebody she's comfortable. Wants long-term type of thing, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, fine print. You're the long-term she needs space with. But the other guys, no. Well, the other day, we finally engaged in hooking up after a close to 2-month period, and during our post-you-know-what conversation, I got to know that she's engaged in you-know-what already with the other person she's seeing. I know it's none of my business, but I try to get more details about it. Smack! It is your business. Okay, you're sleeping with her. Well, wait a second here. Is this like the week she decides to hook up with everybody she's, seeing because she feels comfortable? No. Means that you've been waiting for 2 months, taking her out and all that, because I'm sure this guy's probably paying for most stuff before getting any nookie. And Chad and Tyrone have been getting nookie all along. Yeah, it doesn't sit well with me. She was also going on dates with this other person since the last 2.5 months, and she's already engaged in SCX with him. So is this 2 guys she's hooking up with? Meanwhile, you aren't getting anything? I'm not bummed about the number of times they had engaged already, but rather the timing of the first one that they had, which is around the first week or so after they met. There you go. There you go. Newsflash, they'll jump the bones of the bad boys and Chad Tyrone's who they think that isn't going to last very long, but the guys they think that they, is going to be serious, they make them wait. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. I've said this all along. First, if she hooks up with you on the first date, or even worse, if you met at a party and just went and hooked up in the bathroom or at your house afterwards, that ain't girlfriend material. But after a few dates, say 3, maybe 4, if you haven't hooked up yet, I'd say I'd cut your losses. That's just me. I try to be open and progressive about all this. Smack! Shouldn't be progressive about anything. But I was made to wait a couple months, not to compare, but I felt like I was being treated as a second choice. I played it cool, and at that point in time, but since then it's been nagging me quite a lot, and my ego and confidence took a hit somehow, if that makes sense. Makes perfect sense. His gut is telling him this ain't right. He's like, what the hell? It made me wait 2 months? Nah. Well, I contacted her yesterday and told her how I'm feeling and just blocked her. That's what you get, woman. And I did not wait for any response, nor was I looking for one to safeguard myself and all that. Am I wrong for doing so? Is this how the current dating space looks like? No, bro, you're not wrong for doing so. You can end a relationship or end seeing someone for any reason you want. You have the freedom and choice to do that, even though, guess what, you're going to be seen as the devil incarnate, because they'll certainly dump a guy like that for far less. He also asks, is this how the current dating space looks like? Well, yes, it does for the guys that are perceived as nice guys. She perceived you as a nice guy, and, well, you're going to see he is. And so she's dragging along, making him wait, And maybe she sensed maybe it wasn't going to last long, wanted to keep him around, so she gave him the bare minimum. But that's what they do. And you have every right to end it. Now, as you guys can probably imagine, this guy gets hellfire in the comment section from guess which gender. And he's going to go on now to explain more what was going on and the reasons behind that and all that. He also says, you're adding more reasons around why I felt hurt and did what I did. At the beginning, when we first met, she was upfront about seeing me and the other person at the same time. And when asked about her views on SEX and what she was expecting, she mentioned she liked to wait until she felt comfortable. I didn't press more for it. I felt like she was judging who she can be the best one for her. That'll be the loophole. Well, she wasn't comfortable with this guy then. This guy obviously wasn't pressuring her. Taking his time, okay, so someone you obviously can see you have to worry about. Even though I went on dates with a few other girls, nothing ended in SEX. I'm kind of the person who also needs a bit of connection to do so. The only reason I did this is to realize whatever spark I felt for this woman is real or not, which I realized sooner and stuck to this woman ever since. Well, the problem is, if she was dating other dudes and he's dating other chicks, at least she mentioned that. I'll give her that. The thing is that if he stops seeing other girls and just is focusing on her, meanwhile she's still, testing the waters with a few different guys, he's now going to be focusing all on her. That could lead him to be more clingy and more trying to get her approval, putting her on a pedestal and all that, which of course will turn her off. That's the problem if she's seen other dudes and you're just focusing on her. A little tip, gentlemen. It's only after I had SCX recently with her, I got to know all these details. Initially, I felt that he and I were held up in some sort of standards, and she was feeling a similar attraction, which in hindsight is wrong and naive of me to think so. But post-reveal, I didn't feel like this is the reason. I felt she wasn't that attracted to me physically, at least not until I tried to initiate. So knowing that she was already intimate with the other person, and that too she could do it the very first week after knowing him, bruised my ego and confidence. So this led to me thinking I was the second choice, along with which I was not comfortable with. Yeah, his ego was hurt a bit. That's fair. He's being honest here. But it wasn't just that. It's like, why do I want to be the second choice? Why do I want to be the guy that you're hooking up with this dude the first week? And I'm 2 months? 2 months, really? And how much money did he spend on her? Yeah, no thanks. And if he continued with her and say she became his girlfriend, the treatment of him would not be very good, and it's time to get rid of her. Now he's going to go on to some updates here with regards to the hellfire he got in the comment section. Well, he says, I didn't want to post an explanation for my previous post as an update, but seeing how some of the people are trying to assassinate my character, I felt needed to do so. I shall call the girl in this context T, and the other person involved N. I'm not going to do that to you guys with initials, so we'll call T Terry and N Nathan. And by the way, young dude, you do not owe anybody an explanation for your actions. Smack, remember that. But he's doing it, so I'll read it anyway. T, what I call her Terry. Terry and I met each other on a dating platform a fortnight after Terry and Nathan had met each other first. A fortnight? Nobody talks like that anymore. When we met for the first time, we discussed our shared interests and even our views on SEX and dating in general. Here's why I will admit I should have followed up with more questions, but since it being the first date, I didn't do it. The question I posed to her at the time was, what's your view on SCX and dating? To which she said she won't engage in that until she's comfortable with it and generally likes to take her time. Really? Because taking her time with Nathan, huh? Since it was our first date, I took her words at face value, and I thought she was a similar person with regards to how I view the same. No, we never take their words at face value, gentlemen. Pay attention to actions, not words. Relatively, yes, it differs from person to person, but I took her answer objectively, and whatever she followed the standards/rules with me. I felt it was the same she's following while seeing Nathan. You thought wrong, amigo, but you're now wiser, so good came out of this. I want to emphasize on the seeing part because not always it is associated with being sexually active with each other. That was my understanding and based on her previous answer about her views on SEX. I took it as if she was also taking time to consider things with Nathan. I will also concur and accept it's my mistake to assume such. Well, you made a mistake, but now you're all the wiser. It was her idea, a casual one to me, that I could see other people and experience how things would be like to decide who's going to be a better partner. It was a suggestion without malice, and I did it as mentioned in the previous post. Went on a few dates and a few other women, but as I iterated there, nothing ended in SCX. Well, I'm not surprised there, and she probably said, I want you to see other people, so he probably would be bugging her all the time. But she kept him around just enough to keep him on the layaway. Some people seem to take this as a loophole and try to hit me on my character, saying he would have done so had he ever felt a spark. Yes, I would have, but I would also have been exclusive to this person and stopped seeing others. That's the difference. Unfortunately, I didn't hit it off with those, and I felt a stronger spark and connection with Terry and continued going on dates solely with her. See, this is the difference. He admits if the spark, if you will, with the other girls, he would have stopped seeing her and got exclusive because he preferred to be close to someone than just randomly hooking up with bimbos. I also want to clarify here, I have told this update to Terry, and I also mentioned I didn't engage in any intimacy with them. Why are you talking to her? It was her opportunity to come clean with the sexual intimacy part that she has got ongoing with Nathan. Okay, that was earlier before he blocked her. She didn't reveal. Either she might have thought I already knew this, or she was deliberately hid that part from me. More on to this later. Dude, she deliberately hid things from you. Come on. So for the next month or so, she was seeing both Nathan and I was under the impression things were going well between us. I didn't ask how things were going with her and Nathan, since I'm not entitled to that information. Well, I'm glad he didn't ask, because if he asked, that shows low confidence. At least he did that right. But I will say I did initiate SCX a few times during this period. I know I said I don't have a high libido, but that doesn't mean it's exaggerationally low, as some clever tried to pick on it and use it against me. I do have my needs in general. Twice or thrice a week, I had to take care of myself. Yeah, we get the point. We're all men here. But she insisted she needed more time. I felt like it was the truth and didn't push it on more. Okay, so during the 2 months, he's trying to initiate it. She's like, nope, not yet. He's like, okay. Next date, initiating, nope, not yet. What changed my perception around everything is when we had, finally at my place recently, and post which I was feeling very raw and praising her a lot at the time. Smack! Praising her a lot at the time. This is his nice guy shit. Put her on the pedestal. That I felt happy she chose me. Smack! Chose you? You actually said you're happy she chose you? Dude, that's going to make her look like you like a fucking peasant. Come on here. She should be lucky you chose her. That should be your attitude. God's sakes. I naively thought she picked me over Nathan. Here's where she slowly let myself know about the state of things with Nathan and how they already were hooking up. I did ask her a few questions around the subject, and I put it together indirectly that she did it with me because he was out of station for the past few weeks. Well, there's nobody else, so she'll sleep with him. I guarantee you he wasn't getting any BJs or anything special, but I'm sure he was more than happy to service her down south. I have no qualms about her past sexual life. It's her present choices that bother me. Smack! You should always pay attention to her past. That bruised my ego and confidence. Obviously, when Nathan is taking care of those needs for her, and when she's already connected to him on that level, things would be slower than usual with me. Correct. She's keeping you around for taking her out on expensive dates. I'm sure he's been doing that. I will say it again. This made me feel like I was the second choice all along. I could have gotten more details about, but I pressed on. That we had to sleep that night. It was already late, and she left early in the morning for work purposes. She was like, "I'm out of here." I had time to sit down and think it through, and when I posted the previous post, I didn't want to touch. I didn't want to touch on her obvious disparities and possible manipulation tactics to keep me at bay. Thank you. I'm glad he recognizes there were manipulation tactics to keep him my layaway, keep it at bay long enough, in case it didn't work out with Chad or Tyrone. I could have gotten closer to the truth, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to ruin the image of her in my mind. Hence, I put in a message, a very lengthy one, a very vulnerable and honest one that I don't want to share her and cut her off by blocking her. More than her tactics or behavior, I'd like to think it more the circumstances that worked against me. So that's that. I don't want to hear any more on this topic from any more negative comments here. Dude, this is Reddit. You're going to get negative. You can't post a story like this and not get comments. Guys, you got to have thick skin if you're ever going to do this. You can't care what people think. How many times people give me shit about everything? Think I care? Fuck no. Hopefully down the line, I can share a happy life update. If you have read this so far, if you're one of those who shared good advices to me, thank you and I wish you well. Now in a moment, we're going to do a little update that was posted 2 days ago. This story was posted a while ago about him, but real quick. Well, hopefully he learns from this. He learns a lot, actually, and becomes all the wiser that he will keep a good guy in layaway. But that whole thing about saying he's glad she chose him and shit like that, no, don't ever do that, man, or any other guy out there. Don't act like you're I'm not worthy and bowing and shit. No one's going to respect you for that, especially a woman. Now to his brief update. He says, I have a positive update here, and I forgot the account was here. Yeah, I don't have anything update about her. Post that she didn't try to reach out to me in person, and that I hoped or expected. Well, I'm not surprised she'll reach out to him. She's probably like, okay, asshole, I get all my free steak dinners from him. I took some time away from the dating scene and met this amazing gal a couple months ago. Hey, there you go. We made our relationship official just last week. I learned my lesson from the previous experience, and I'm happy that I found the girl I'm looking for. Thanks for all the help and input from the last time. I turned 27 yesterday, and oh wow, what all she did for me, it made my day. Well, happy birthday. I'm glad he's getting laid. I'm guessing it didn't take him 2 months to get some nookie from the new girl. I just hope he's learned his lesson with regards to the nice guy royalty treatment he gave the other girl. Otherwise, this girl here, it's going to be the same thing, guaranteed. So anyhow, guys, point of that thing is, yes, he was a nice guy, and he did some things that made us all want to barf. But he's young, he's learning, and at the end of the day, when he realized that she was making him second, boom, he's done. And I like that he did that. A lot of people disagree with that. No surprise, and I know he got the hellfire of Reddit, but fuck him. There were also a lot of guys who are supporting him. So, gentlemen, let's learn from this. Rules for thee, not for me. Well, that was a bad example. Make rules for betas, break rules for alphas. Right there. They will look for the guy to settle with, and I guarantee she was, but they'll have their fun on the side. So don't think that if your girl's making you wait 2 months, unless she's like super coming off as super staunchly religious and all that, and even then you have to question some things. Other than that, she's getting fulfilled someplace else. Just roping you along, and probably other guys until she finds they got to marry, and then, well, you know how that usually works out. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.